No, today.
Nope. Time is 7:03 p.m. Call this meeting of the Mayor and Town Council for Tuesday, May 26th to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have our roll call, Susan?
Yes, Councilor Draco. Here. Here. Councilor Jahab. Here. Councilor Gonzalez. Here. Councilor Nieves.
Here.
Councilor Ford. Deputy Mayor Rada.
Here.
Councilor Minneapolis.
Here.
Mayor Tristan.
Here. All right, we had a quorum. Next is approval of the agenda. Unless anyone has any changes, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion Deputy Mayor Rada,
Second.
second by Councilor Gonzalez. Any discussion on approving the agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? All right, agenda is approved. First on our agenda now is a presentation. We'll be doing our annual proclamation recognizing Pride Month. And I will read it. Proclamation of the Newington Town Council. Whereas the Town Council of Newington welcomes and encourages diversity and inclusion for all members of our community. And whereas June is the nationwide month to recognize the contributions of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, asexual, plus LGBTQIA plus community. And whereas celebrating Pride Month raises awareness and provides support and advocacy for the LGBTQIA plus community and is an opportunity to become educated, engage in dialogue, strengthen alliances, and build understanding. And whereas, despite remarkable progress towards acceptance and equality, members of the LGBTQIA plus community continue to face discrimination, intolerance, and hate. And whereas, by protecting the rights of every individual, we enhance and strengthen the value of everyone throughout our entire community. And whereas, individuals of this town who identify as LGBTQIA plus have made and continue to make vital contributions to every aspect of our town. And whereas, we affirm our support for LGBTQIA plus residents in our community and stand with them to protect their civil rights and their ability to live openly, equally, and without fear. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Newington Town Council recognizes the month of June 2026 as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, asexual plus Pride Month in Newington and urges all residents to build a culture of inclusiveness and acceptance during this month and every month. Be it further resolved that to mark this recognition, the Pride flag, which is widely recognized as a symbol of celebration, inclusion, and support for social movements that advocate for LGBTQIA plus people, will be raised on Monday, June 1st at 9 a.m. and flown outside the Newington Town Hall throughout the month of June 2026. Dated in Newington, Connecticut, this 26th day of May, 2026.
Second.
All right, motion made, seconded by Councilor Gonzalez. Discussion from council on this. All right, being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? Oh,
Opposed.
okay, very good.
I just wanted to just say,
Councilor Capello, go right ahead.
I do respect and support the LGBT plus community and all the residents here. My concern isn't with the Pride flag or the people that it represents. It's about maintaining a constant policy for what flags are flown on municipal property. Town Hall belongs to all the residents, regardless of their beliefs, identities, religions, or political views. It should remain a neutral space that represents all residents and inclusive to all.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor DeHaas.
I disagree with flying the flag. I can be a decent human being and support our community without needing to fly a flag that's going to force conversations about sexual orientation and identification into the households with children who don't feel it's appropriate to have those conversations with their children at this time. So I would like to be a voice for the families with young children who don't want those conversations forced upon them.
Any other discussion from council? Well, we already voted, so the motion carried 6-2 with Councilor Plourd absent. All righty. How can you make me a host? All right. Moving on to item 5, public participation. If you'd like to speak in public participation, please step up to the microphone and state your name and address for the record. We will, you have 4 minutes to speak. We will, well, if you're on Zoom and would like to speak, use the raise hand function and we'll alternate between in the room and over Zoom. Come on up.
Hello, my name is Elena Starr. I am from 44 Windmill Lane. I am a Newington homeowner, and this is my 6th time speaking before the town council. Tonight, I'm going to offer my thoughts on the flying of the pride flag in front of the Newington Town Hall. From what I understand, the pride flag has been flown here for the entire month of June for the past 3 years. And the discussion now is whether we continue to fly the pride flag in front of town offices. And my answer is no. I am going to preface my answer by stating that I have a very dear friend who identifies as a trans person. I have a very dear friend who identifies as a lesbian. And I have a very dear friend who was married to a man and who is now remarried to a woman, and she is now part of the LGBTQ community. Each of these friends will individually say that she feels loved by me. So my reasoning for saying no has nothing to do with friendship, personal loyalty, nor specific opposition to the pride flag. In fact, these folks I just mentioned are perfectly entitled to fly the pride flag in front of a personal residence here in town, should they desire to do so. I believe that only the Connecticut state flag and the American flag should be flown in front of our town offices, and here is why. A Google search of flags lists so many types and categories of flags that it would be nearly impossible to state all of them here. A few different categories include extinct flags, historical flags, armed forces flags, nautical flags, cultural and ethnic flags, flags of Native Americans, religious flags, sexual identity flags, flags of national and international organizations, et cetera, et cetera. I have spoken to friends from Newington who have mentioned that, quote, there should be a Polish flag, a flag of the American hostages who were abducted by Hamas on October 7, 2023, a Ukrainian flag, a flag of Native Americans, and even a Girl Scout flag flown here. Each of these people and groups are passionate about their organizations and causes. To that point, Wethersfield, Connecticut Town Hall had been flying the pride flag alongside the Connecticut flag and the American flag. During that time, a Wethersfield police officer was killed in the line of duty. The Back the Blue supporters wanted to raise their flag in Wethersfield, but they were denied that privilege. They found it inherently unfair to allow the pride flag, but to disallow the Back the Blue flag. So eventually, Wethersfield settled upon flying the Connecticut state flag and the American flag in front of their town offices. I ask this of the town council: if we open ourselves to hoisting the pride flag in front of town hall, will we be accused of playing favorites? Question mark. How will we justify that flying one flag is preferable to flying another flag? Big question mark. How will we be able to say no to flying flags that citizens and groups feel strongly and passionately about? Big question mark. Could the proverbial sky be the limit? Big question mark. So for these reasons, I believe that allowing any flags other than the Connecticut state flag and the American flag are opening up the town of Newington to lots of unnecessary and unwanted future debate and controversy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have one on Zoom. We'll go to them and then you guys come up next. Go right ahead, Ms. Lyons.
Hi, Rose Lyons, 46 Elton Drive. I know I don't get a vote on this, but as a resident and a taxpayer in the town of Newington, I would like to voice my vote that I don't get with what we're going to do with the appropriation of additional municipal fund or aid. I'd like to see it go back into the general fund. From what I read in the memorandum attached to the agenda, it's minimal amount of money that we're going to get back if we apply it towards the taxes. And it seems to me, in reading that memo as well and thinking to myself, how much work is going to be involved to do this? Is it really worth it? So I'm sure you're going to have a discussion tonight, but I just had to weigh in on that, and that'll be it for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lyons.
Thank you.
All right, come on up.
My name is Allison Pfeffer and my address is 64 Garfield Street. I'm here tonight to offer my support of flying the pride flag at Newington Town Hall. Thank you to the council members and mayor who voted in favor of tonight's proclamation. Those who support and stand up for the marginalized will never be on the wrong side of history. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Andre Andreas, 76 Vincent Drive. I respectfully submit this letter in opposition to the town's recognition in observance of Pride Month, flying the pride flag. In my view, local government should remain neutral regarding social and political movements and focused instead on symbols that unite all residents, like the flag we just took an allegiance to. For that reason, I believe the town should recognize and display the United States flag, which represents every citizen regardless of backgrounds, beliefs, or identity. During previous discussions on this issue, I raised two primary questions. Why is this the only special interest flag the town chooses to recognize and fly? And why is there a need for a pride committee as an extension of local government? In response, I was told the town wants to ensure LGBTQ residents feel recognized and represented. While I support all treatments with while I support treating all residents with dignity and respect, I do not believe it's the government role to promote acceptance of any particular group or viewpoint. In a diverse society such as Newington, individuals will inevitably hold different beliefs, and government should remain neutral rather endorse one's perspective over another. I was also told the pride flag is intended to be inclusive. However, many residents do not feel this way, as we see today, or the movement it symbolizes. As a white heterosexual male, I do not personally see myself reflected in that symbol of the flag. This raises an important question. If the purpose is inclusivity, how do we ensure that all residents feel equally represented? Another comment made during prior discussions was that no one had been harmed during a pride flag raising ceremony. I found this statement troubling because it seemed to dismiss broader concerns that many residents have regarding the social and political issues surrounding this topic. Regardless of where one stands on these issues, respectfully, disagreement should not be characterized as hostility. Despite what you said, Mayor, at the national level, there continues to be a significant debate regarding gender identity, biological sex, and the role of the government in recognizing Pride Month, which this current administration does not recognize Pride Month. The current federal administration has taken positions that differ from those of previous administrations, including emphasizing biological sex, national identity under the American flag. While reasonable, people may disagree on these matters that are ongoing debate further underscores why local government should avoid taking sides. I respectfully ask the town of Newington to remain neutral and refrain from displaying flags that many residents view as representing a specific social, political, or ideological movement. Instead, I encourage the town to focus on symbols and traditions that unite all members of our community. I really appreciate your consideration, and I want to bring, because I have some more time, you mentioned that the Proud community are, you know, they contribute to the Newington community. Well, I contribute too. Where's my special flag? You know, I pay my taxes. I maintain my yard. I'm a good neighbor. Where's my special flag? There is none. That's my flag. And that's everybody's flag, not a pride flag. I respectfully ask that that flag is not flown on June 1st.
Thank you. Anybody else in the room or over Zoom that would like to speak in public participation?
My name is Lou Boyd. I live at Hartford Avenue, on Hartford Avenue. I was gonna talk about the great job Parks and Recs did this year in cutting them god ugly bushes down on the bridge side of the pond. They did a great job. Unfortunately, they didn't follow it up, and we got another bunch of weeds growing up that I thought would have been nice if we had a lawn, so people can actually lay out and enjoy the sun. Then I was happy to see we're getting a new fire department finally. Because God, we got to keep up with this affordable housing we're throwing in here. But seeing as though we found another topic that really stirred my thought process here, I too am not in favor of a gay pride flag. I mean, I think it's a political stunt, to be honest, to get brownie points. Because I don't think that we're going to see a back to blue flag up there supported by a certain political party, you know, like we're seeing the division over a gay pride flag. You know, we're not having an NRA flag up there. You know, there's a lot of groups that are represented in this town. And I don't, you know, we're not having any court cases over those. We're having that on gay pride flags, you know, and I just think it's singling out one group to give them recognition when there's, like this other guy just said, there's plenty of groups in this town that are getting none. So why just one? And I don't know. I was surprised that this was going to be a topic because I followed that story in Weathersfield too, and there was no recognition of an officer getting shot in that town with a flag. And as a father of a police officer, I think it's really important to honor police officers. I really do. I had the great privilege of watching my son as an honor guard yesterday, I guess, yeah. And now I'm damn proud of him. And I just think that, you know, maybe I'm biased being a father of a police officer, but a back to blue flag, I would love it up there. But there is so much against that, we'll never see it. We'll never see the damn thing. There's a lot of opposition to a gay pride flag, but yet we still see it. You know, so I think it's time to just represent the people with the United States of America flag there and the state of Connecticut, whether we like it or not. But I think the two flags are prominent, and it sets a control point where there's no argument. Well, unless you're a communist or something, and then you got to cry. But it's a central point where we're all American citizens, or at least most of us are. And I think those two should be the main flags, the only flags that are flying in front of a government building, whether it be town, federal. That's our flag. I think everybody in this room can say that's our flag. You throw a gay pride flag in the corner of that room, not everybody's going to say it. And it's not a slight. It's a feeling of one person's own recognition. For 29 seconds, I'll just ramble, so I'm not going to say anything else. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else in the room or over Zoom that would like to speak in public participation? If you're on Zoom, make sure you use the raise hand. Oh, there we go. Go right ahead, Amy.
You come up. Go
Yeah, you can
next.
come up, but you'll go next.
Yep, just sit down.
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Amy Parati, 175 Hillcrest Avenue. I just joined, but hearing some of the public comment discussion, I'm guessing that the proclamation has already been read for Pride Month, recognizing Pride Month and raising the Pride flag. I just want to just make a point that
Did we lose her?
We lost you, Amy.
families
Amy, we can't hear you.
that-
There you are.
Oh, sorry. Did you hear me at all?
No.
No.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Can we just pause? Like, can you go to the next person? I'll come back.
Okay. Well, no, you just keep going because we already started. You gotta keep going. We can't do
Okay,
twice.
okay. So I don't know if you can hear me or not, but I just want to applaud the Democratic majority for bringing forward this resolution. The decisions made by the council send messages to the people in our town. Some messages are, I don't even know what I'm saying. I think that is important to recognize the importance of showing our support for LGBTQ students and our community members to show that they're fully accepted in our schools and our community, because public recognition matters. It communicates safety, belonging, and dignity. I know not everyone shares the same views on issues and different thoughts about a particular symbol, as in the flag, but we should all be able to agree that every person in our community deserves the dignity, respect, and assurance that they belong in our community, and we welcome them. I will be at the Pride flag raising June 1st at 9 a.m. and I hope to see our community members there to support as well. In addition, I also want to address the additional state funding that is coming to Newington this fall. When we passed the board budget, initially handed over to the town council or the town manager, we unanimously added in the para educator benefits. And I would expect and hope and make a suggestion that it would be anticipated with that money, as well as some funding that has come through in terms of grants, that we would be able to actually provide those benefits to the para educators that are working day in and out to support our students, especially those with special education services in town. I think that's all I want to say is that, in addition, I know that the funding is a one-time thing, but I think it is extremely important that we offer these benefits this year and don't kick the can down the road again. I will also continue to advocate for and work with our state legislators, because bringing education funding to Newington is vital and important, and continue to do the job that I was elected to do in the support of that. So thank you for your time, and see everyone Monday. Bye.
Thanks, Amy.
Thank you.
Go ahead, please state your name and address for the record.
Is this on? I don't know if
Yeah,
this.
but not too close. Move it back.
Oh, my bad. All right. My name is Autumn Cram. I live on 96 Audubon Avenue. I didn't know this resolution was for Pride Month was being discussed today. Otherwise, I would have prepared something. But I am transgender, and if anyone knows anything about what the current government thinks of transgender folks, we are currently very much in the crosshairs of a lot of nationwide policies. People are talking about other groups that may not have flags. And, if I'm getting special treatment for the pride flag being raised over town hall, there are certain states where I can't get a driver's license. There are certain states where I can't use a bathroom with dignity. There's so many aspects to being transgender that most people can't even fathom. I hope that most people here, I hope that everyone here doesn't have to worry about the things that I worry about every single day. You know, the fact that there are politicians that go out of their way to attack people like me every single day. I mean, if we're talking about the importance of Pride Month, same-sex marriage was only legalized 11 years ago, nationwide, 11 years ago. So when we raise the pride flag over town hall, it's meant to show that Newington is an accepting place for people whose acceptance is not always guaranteed. Like I said, especially in the way that these political times are right now, I have a lot of anxiety just leaving the house. Sometimes it's hard. I mean, we live in a blue state, and there are certainly a lot of privileges that are associated with that. But, in a lot of red states, rights of LGBTQ folks are being actively rolled back. There's a national movement where they're trying to roll back same-sex marriage. And, there's a lot of, laws in certain states, or just a general sentiment about not speaking about LGBTQ folks but there's LGBTQ folks of all ages, and it just not having the visibility just makes things harder for everybody. I didn't have any LGBTQ visibility growing up. I came out at age 34. And, I'm not sure if my life would have been, maybe better in some ways if I did realize who I was much sooner. But growing up, I didn't have the visibility when I was younger that there is today. Like I said, I probably would have prepared something a bit more coherent if I knew in advance that this was happening. But the pride flag being raised over town hall really doesn't impact most people very much, but it makes a world of difference to me. Even to see a business with a pride flag in the window means that that's one less thing that I have to worry about, that I can just go somewhere and be myself and not have to worry. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else in the room or over Zoom that would like to speak in public participation? Come on up.
Good evening, Cassidy McNamara, 16 Clifford Street. I'd like to offer my thoughts regarding Firehouse Company 4, as I was unable to attend the last meeting. I believe everyone in this town understands the importance of public safety, and with that in mind, I hope a new firehouse for that area of town will be supported with confidence. Company 4 is an essential firehouse for this town. It serves not only the area beyond New Britain Ave during traffic congestion, but also provides easier access through Cedar Street and surrounding areas. Just last week, Engine 4 was out of service for several days, leaving that side of town with delayed coverage from other companies. In emergency situations, those delays can become very costly. The current firehouse is outdated and no longer meets the needs of the department, and I sincerely hope the town and council strongly consider moving this project forward as soon as possible in order to continue providing the level of protection and service our community deserves.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else in the room or over Zoom that would like to speak in public participation? Seeing none. We didn't have any email correspondence. All right, I'm going to move on to remarks by councilors on public participation. I'll kick us off. First and foremost, the pride flag is not the only flag that we fly in town. Currently, we have an America 250 flag flying Back in April, we flew the Donate Life flag to honor the Organ Donation Month. I think our council has shown a willingness to hear from all sides. I'm not opposed to flying a flag to support our police officers or our firefighters, or all our law enforcement. I think what we really need to talk about is having a flag policy that everyone in the town can understand and follow through, and I'm being supportive of that. I think it's absolutely necessary that we fly the pride flag in our town, and I will continue to support that as long as I sit in the seat. And that's pretty much all I'm going to say about that. I will pass it off now. Councilor Tiniakis.
Hey, everyone. Thank you for coming. Appreciate everyone's comments. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. This is America. That's why it's awesome, right? I don't think it's any surprise. I support raising the pride flag. It's been 3 years now. Nothing bad has happened since we've started doing this, right? I don't think there's been any kind of big event that happened because we're doing this. As the mayor said, a couple months ago, we rose the organ donation flag. Not everyone's an organ donor, right? So that doesn't really represent everyone in the town. In some religions, it's even against their religion to donate organs, right? So there's like another level to that. That passed unanimously on our council, right? So that flag was fine for us to raise, which I just think it's funny, right? But yeah, something that we do. A small group of people appreciate it. It's harmless. If you guys want to raise like a flag for police or fire department, then you should probably make a formal request. Usually something happens, like an event of some kind, or it's like a designated month, and then we'll raise a flag for whatever particular reason. But just coming here and saying, oh yeah, we should raise this for no reason at all, make it formal if you really want to see it happen. Other than that, I will be at the flag raising. I will be at Pride in the Park at the end of the next month. And once the month is over, life will move on and nothing is going to happen. So.
Thanks, Councilor. Councilor Gonzalez.
I just wanted to make a few statements. First, someone who came up and spoke was speaking about Newington Pride Organization, and that is a private organization run by citizens. It has nothing to do with the town council or the government. So there's that correction. Also, the mayor and Councilor Tiniakis already mentioned that other flags have been hung, and it was a unanimous yes from all councilors to hang those flags. No opposition in the audience from anybody to hang those flags. Raising the pride flag is a symbol of visibility, support, and safety for LGBTQ plus people. I strongly believe that everyone deserves dignity and the freedom to live without fear or discrimination. And with that being said, when you're saying that it doesn't represent everybody, you don't walk around and feel that type of discrimination every single day and worry about if you go somewhere, what's going to happen to you. And I don't think that you're able to necessarily understand those feelings unless you're in that position. I have learned a great deal in the past year and a half that I have belonged to Newington Pride. I am proud to be in that organization, and I will continue to be a voice for those that may feel that they cannot be. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Deputy Mayor Rada.
Yes, I think a lot of what I would like to say has already been said, so there's no reason for me to reiterate it. I am certainly in favor of raising the pride flag. I have been at every flag raising since we've begun this, since I have been on the council. I will continue to do that. I see this as a statement that our community can make. Excuse me. There are no assumptions coming into a community, whether as a visitor, whether as a potential resident, whether as a resident, that an individual will be welcomed, will not be persecuted, will be affirmed, and will be welcomed. And having a flag, even for 30 days, is a symbol of what I feel our town always has and hopefully always will stand for. This is not a demand. It does not symbolize an edict. It's not an educational mandate. It is a symbol of acceptance that many times is too quiet a voice for others to hear. Excuse me. So I will be at the flag raising, and I will continue to every year that we do this. And I also want to extend my appreciation to the Pride Committee. And I'm glad Councilor Gonzalez brought this up, that this is something that was really organic, that came out of the needs, the wishes, and the support of a grassroots group of individuals to begin this a few years ago, which has now really become very successful. And I appreciate everything that is being done. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councilor DeHaas?
We can say it's harmless, but it does prompt children to start asking questions when they see it. And conversations about sexuality may not be appropriate at the age that these children are now asking these questions about what it means and why and everything else. Treating people with dignity and respect is not something that's going to be prompted by a flag. It's part of the community. It's the individuals and the behaviors that they exhibit. I can treat somebody with dignity and respect, even if I disagree with them or choices they make or anything else. And that's just because I can be a decent human being, and a flag is not going to make me be a decent human being. I just choose to be one. I also want to comment, I think I heard it correctly. I may not have, because she cut out para benefits with the one-time funding that is coming in for the Board of Education. I would urge the Board of Education to budget responsibly and not use one-time funds for a recurring expense. And if I would like to see the paras get benefits, but it needs to be something that's sustainable in the budget and not something that's then going to be forced on us year after year after year because they utilize one-time funds that will not be guaranteed going forward.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other remarks from council and public participation? All right, seeing none, we're going to move on to old business. First up is item A, recommendation from the Fire Department Project Building Committee. Deputy Mayor Rada, would you mind reading this long resolution?
As soon as I find it.
It's a few pages in.
Here we go. Okay. Yep. All right. Resolved that the Newington Town Council hereby moves to direct the town manager to request draft bond referendum language from the town's bond council related to the Fire Department Project Building Committee's recommendation for the construction of a new fire station number 4 at 84 Fifth Street. And be it further resolved that the Newington Town Council hereby directs the town manager to submit to the Town Planning and Zoning Commission for its review of the proposed construction of a new fire station number 4 at 84 Fifth Street in accordance with section 8/8-24 of the Connecticut General Statutes. And be it further resolved that the Newington Town Council hereby directs the town manager and acting finance director to submit the proposed cost estimate for the fire station number 4 project to the town's financial advisor for a debt capacity analysis.
Second.
Motion made by Deputy Mayor Rada, seconded by Councilor Draco. Any discussion from council on this? Just so it's in the record, this resolution keeps the ball moving on the company 4 and really puts it in line to go to referendum this fall. So we're happy to keep moving. Deputy Mayor Rada.
Yes, I just wanted to, and I may have mentioned it at the last council meeting, but I would like to thank the Fire Department Building Committee and the presentation that was made at that we heard. It was detailed. It was specific. I was stunned, and I think some of us were too, with the time frame between demo and construction. So I am very pleased that this is moving forward. It's been a long time coming. We all know that. And I will probably all be there once that ribbon is ready to be cut. So we want to thank everyone on that committee for following through and doing a terrific job.
You're here. We had a motion and a second. Any further discussion from council on this? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? All right, motion carries 8-0 with Counselor Flores absent. All right. We'll move on to item B, introduction of chapter 339 school bus violation ordinance and amendments to the chapter 13 citation hearings. Counselor Tiniakis, would you please read that resolution?
Sure. Introductions. I hereby introduce the town council's consideration, the proposed chapter 339 titled School Bus Violation Enforcement Systems and the proposed amendment to chapter 13 citation hearings to the Newington Code of Ordinances, copies of which have been filed with the clerk of the council. Resolved that the Newington Town Council hereby schedules a public hearing on June 9th, 2026 at 6:30 PM to consider the proposed chapter 339 titled School Bus Violation Enforcement Systems and the proposed amendment to chapter 13 citing hearings to the Newington Code of Ordinances, copies of which are attached to this resolution.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Tiniakis, seconded by Counselor Gonzalez. Any discussion on this?
As a reminder, pursuant to the charter, once a ordinance is introduced, there should be no further discussion of it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so that's where
Discussion's
your
on.
discussion when you adopt it
Yeah.
after the public hearing.
All right, so this has been introduced. There's no more discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? Motion carries 8-0. Counselor Flores absent. Moving right along, item C, appointment of auditor. Counselor Nieves, would you please read the resolution?
Resolved for section 610 of the Newington Town Center Charter, the firm of Clifton Larson Allen LLP, formerly Blum Shapiro, is hereby appointed as auditor for the town of Newington for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2026. Said firm agrees to file a complete report on or before December 15, 2026.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Nieves, seconded by Counselor Capello. Any discussion? We're allowed to discuss this.
Yes, you can discuss.
Any discussion on this? Counselor Tiniakis?
Yeah, just, I want to reiterate that. So this is our annual audit. So we audit the town every year. Should be available to the public once it's right, once it's done. I know that sometimes like there are people being say, oh, we need an audit, we need an audit. We do it every year, right? So it's available. You can see it for yourself. This is something that is done annually. So just wanted to kind of reiterate that. And once the results are in, we'll post them online. They're free for everybody to look at.
Thank you, Counselor. Any further discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? Motion carries 8-0. Counselor Flores absent. All right, moving along. Item D, fair housing resolution. Counselor Gonzalez, you get the long one.
Okay,
This is an annual resolution that we do every year as well.
this one?
Yeah, whereas.
Whereas,
Yep.
okay. Whereas all persons are afforded a right to full and equal housing opportunities in the neighborhood of their choice. And whereas federal fair housing laws require that all individuals, regardless of race, color, religion, sex, handicapped, familial status, or national origin, be given equal access to all housing-related opportunities, including rental and home ownership opportunities, and be allowed to make free choices regarding housing location. And whereas Connecticut fair housing laws require that all individuals, regardless of race, creed, color, national origin, ancestry, sex, marital status, age, lawful source of income, familial status, learning disability, physical or mental disability, sexual orientation, or gender identity or expression, be given equal access to all housing-related opportunities, including rental and home ownership opportunities, and be allowed to make free choice regarding housing location. And whereas the town of Newington is committed to upholding these laws and realizes that these laws must be supplemented by an affirmative statement publicly endorsing the right of all people to full and equal housing opportunities in the neighborhood of their choice. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and the Newington Town Council hereby endorses the fair housing policy to ensure equal opportunity for all persons to rent, purchase, and obtain financing for adequate housing of their choice on a non-discretionary basis. And be it further resolved that the town manager of the town of Newington or their designated representative is responsible for responding to and assisting any person who alleges to be the victim of any illegal discriminatory housing practices in the town of Newington, and for advising such person of the right to file a complaint with the State of Connecticut Commission on Human Rights and Opportunities, or the U.S. Department of Housing Services, or other fair housing organizations to protect his or her right to equal housing opportunities. Adopted by the Newington Town Council, what is today?
26th.
The 26th of 2026
Of May.
of May.
Second.
All right, motion by Counselor Gonzalez, seconded by Counselor Tiniakis. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstain? Motion carries 8-0. Counselor Floyd absent. That'll conclude our old business. Moving right along to item 8, tax refunds. Counselor Pacheco, would you please
Thank
read the
you.
resolution?
Resolved that property tax refunds in the amount of $309.41 are hereby approved in the individual amounts and for those named in the request for refund of an overpayment of taxes certified by the revenue collector, a list of which is attached to this resolution.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Pacheco, second by Counselor DeHaas. Any discussion on these? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? Motion carries 8-0. Counselor Floyd absent. All right, moving on to item 9, minutes from previous meetings. April 21st minutes starting out in there, the special meeting. And was there anything that anyone saw in the April 21st special meeting minutes or the May 12th regular meeting minutes? Counselor DeHaas, Counselor
I have May
Deputy Mayor
12th.
Rada.
On the May 12th minutes, page 8, section B, the first bullet point, 6th line, site, S-I-T-E, I believe should be site, C-I-T-E. Page 9, third bullet, third line, I believe due should be 2. Deputy Mayor Roddy, you got
Deputy
anything
Mayor?
else?
No, I will defer to Counselor DeHaas.
All right, well, I would entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the April 21st special meeting and the May 12th regular meeting with Counselor DeHaas's amendments.
Second.
Motion by Counselor Tiniakis, second by Deputy Mayor Rada. Any further discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? All right, motion carries 8-0. Counselor Floyd absent. We have no appointments or resignations, which brings us to new business. Appropriation, item A, appropriation of additional municipal aid.
Yeah, so, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to point out that the memo that I presented laid out kind of what the options are with this additional aid. Thanks to Lauren, checking on something, I need to make a sort of a friendly correction to the numbers laid out here. The only additional aid that's available on the town side for reappropriation or for lowering the mill rate would be the $453,379 in the supplemental Pequot Mohegan line item. It wouldn't be all the other things. Those are reflected in non-general fund or already reflected in the current budget. So the question before you on the town side is not 606,561, but 453,379. Otherwise, you have basically two choices in front of you, one of which would be to lower the mill rate or to use that money, the additional aid, to lower the mill rate. On the education side, your alternative is to appropriate it to the Board of Education. And on the town side, you can either reappropriate back into the town's budget or not do anything with it. And then that would just be used to increase our fund balance so that we'd be on a more sustainable fiscal path moving forward, so that we could weather, future storms. My advice would be to use it for fund balance, and on the Board of Ed side, appropriate it to simply appropriate it to the Board of Ed. with the caveat, I think that Counselor DeHaas pointed out, which is it is one-time money. Obviously, the town council can't tell the Board of Education what to do, how to spend the money. But I would just caution the Board of Ed, if they get that one-time infusion of money, we have been told by the state, don't expect this to be ongoing. So just be careful to use it for one-time expenses like equipment or materials rather than ongoing expenses.
Okay, we have some questions or comments. Councilor Boudreaux.
Yes, I just want to reiterate what the town manager and Councilor DeSantis had said, because there's been a lot of chatter on Facebook about, oh, now we can fund benefits for the paras. And this is a one-time infusion, unless you can guarantee that you're going to be able to carry that forward without more infusion from the town. It's not a good use of a one-time infusion of funds, but during the budget process, the Board of Ed, some cuts were made to, I think, more appropriate uses for this fund for capital projects such as buses, such as, I know the tennis courts were brought up. There was some paving to be done, some roofing to be done. This would probably be a very good use of those funds versus trying to institute something that's going to be an ongoing expense. So that is one comment. The second one is town manager had said, the amount of money coming back to the town on the town side is so minimal. I don't even think, is it the 25?
It would be about $25.
$25 per taxpayer on average, that would be getting that they would be getting, you know, relief for. But when we were, for those of you who followed the budget discussions that we were having, both sides were reluctant and hesitant to have to keep going into the general fund. But it was felt this year that we probably went in a little bit more, took more out of the general fund that we wanted to. Certainly one side more than the other, but both sides agreed that it was not a good sustainable process to keep dipping into the general fund. So in my opinion, using this one-time found money to replenish a little bit into the general fund would be an appropriate use, because trying to lower the mill rate would really not benefit the taxpayer, in my opinion. But it would benefit the town to try and replenish some of the funds that we did take out of the general fund.
Councilor Tiniakis.
Two questions. That $25, is it per year or per month?
No, per year. So the
Then per month, it's like
453,000 corresponds with about 0.1 mils, which is $25 per for your average homeowner.
Gotcha. Yeah. So right. So it's like
It's
grain of rice.
$2 a month.
Yeah. You know. And secondly, I'm in the mindset that when we passed the budget, we had allocated enough funds for the Board of Ed to do paras as it stands with what we gave. You know, we're not too involved with their books, so it's hard to tell, but I'm assuming other projects probably took precedent of it. So in my mind, allocating this funding to them, let them do paras, take care of whatever projects they have, and then, you know, next year, I wouldn't expect the Board of Ed to ask for more specifically for paras. It wouldn't make a lot of sense to me, right? But if they're in the mindset of funding paras one year and then taking away those benefits the next year, I think that is something that the Board of Ed can address to the town if that were the case. So I'm okay with giving them this money because I just don't foresee them doing that. But again, yeah, coming around next year, if they were to ask more money specifically for paras, then I would not be in favor of that, because I believe that they already have the money to do it.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor DeHaas.
I just want to clarify too, that $25 that we're talking about includes the Board of Ed.
No. So if you include the Board of Ed, then it would be more like, so then you're talking about something like 1.4 million. Then you're starting to get into like $75, $80, I think.
Because it says if all 1.534 in additional state aid were used to lower taxes, it would be 0.38. Okay.
Yeah, then I made that adjustment. You had
The way it was reading was a little
Yeah.
wonky to me.
Yeah.
Okay. So I understand that now. Got it.
All good.
Interesting.
I would also say too, and I say it in my memo, one of the interesting things about this budget bill is that it actually preempts local charters. So we wouldn't have to, we wouldn't be bound by some of the timelines in our charter for adopting the budget. So, and it wouldn't count as a special, one of our 2 special appropriations either.
Councilor Nieves?
Yes, my comment has to do with, I do agree with, providing, the bigger portion of the dollars coming to Newington to the Board of Education. I think there was an awful lot of discussion at, a couple of our past meetings, council meetings, relative to, and a lot of support relative to paras, what they do for our children in school. And I think we're in some very tough times, and I think it's just unconscionable to have to think about in today's hard times, we are all living through some hard times, to have to think that you don't have insurance, and that you don't have that, it's, for me, a necessity. And to be able to provide that kind of coverage with this money to the Board of Education, and as Councilor Tiniak has indicated, you know, we've given them, we've talked about the budget that they got, what they've received this year from this council. And they, I believe, we believe that they can manage in the coming years.
Thank you, Councilor. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with those stated. I think, you know, my position coming out of budget was that it was very, very important that they do para benefits, and I'll urge the Board of Education to take these funds and open up some room in their operating budget so that paras can be done on a year-to-year basis and not with one-time funds, and look for other things to use with the one-time funds. Because it is critical that our paras have benefits. I am a little torn on the general fund usage. I recognize that we depleted the general fund and we do need to get back some money in there. And I know it's $25 a year, but we had a really, really tough budget year, and taxpayers are facing an incredibly large tax increase. And it's little bits can help. I'm supportive of letting it replenish the general fund, but I do have a hard time with us not being able to lower taxes for folks for more. But yeah, that's my comments on that question, Jonathan, because like you said, the way the legislation was written and sort of supersedes the charter, is there council action on this?
Well, yes. So what you need to do at the next meeting would be to formally appropriate the money, if that's the will of council, formally appropriate that 928,000 to the Board of Ed as a resolution. If you wanted to use any of the money to reduce taxes, we'd have to take action tonight by waiving the rules.
Right.
Just because of the practical, the tax collector needs time to order the tax bills. And if we wait until June 9th, she wouldn't be able to get the tax bills out on July 1st. So, I mean, so we're prepared, if that's the will of council, to, you know, take some time to do all of those machinations now.
No, it sounds to me like the will of the council is that we replenish some of the general fund, and I'll support that. I just wanted my comment that I have a hard time with it. That's all.
Do we have to make a resolution?
So no, now
We'll next meeting.
Go into next. I'll have a resolution for you for consideration at the next meeting, based on the feedback that I get.
Good. Thank you, Jonathan. All right, moving on to item B, veterans exemptions. See, Danielle is here to give us some knowledge. And this is something that we looked at during budget. Good to see you.
Yes, too.
All right, I'm here to answer questions, so.
We'll open up for questions from council. I think, you know, if
Do
you want to
us
give us a
the
quick
TF
primer,
yeah,
give us a
just
quick
for
primer
TF.
on what this is.
So
You'll
right
explain it
now,
anyway.
the only people, and Danielle, help me out with,
Yeah.
as I speak, which I'm bound to do.
That's okay.
The only people that are eligible for veterans benefits are people that have a 100% service-related disability through the VA.
Well, so not
Already.
not veterans
It took me
benefits.
one
So
sentence.
there's a permanent and total exemption that was passed 2024. Anyone with a permanent and total rating from the VA, any veteran, has a 100% exemption on their dwelling only, not the land. And that does not include those who are considered TDIU. The difference being, and I want to make sure I get it right, TDIU, have, a lot of people with TDIU have not been determined or deemed 100% disabled, permanent and total. However, those with a disability rating, so it basically, they're unemployable by the VA. It's just not a 100% permanent and total.
Yeah, so I mean, that's,
So
that's
Effectively,
essentially.
it
It's-
is,
it
even
is,
if
but
it's
it
not,
isn't,
they're not
right.
necessarily, don't have the stamp
And-
of approval from the VA, but effectively.
Right, and so when the state passed the legislation with the permanent and total, they went back in the following year, last year, they actually passed a bill with like 5 different local options to then be able, so municipalities will be able to open conversations and have the option to include TDIU veterans, to make certain changes to that permanent and total exemption. You know, you have, so it created a local option that allows the municipality to include up to 2 acres of land in addition to the dwelling. It has a local option that allows the municipality to allow surviving spouses whose spouse passed away prior to October 1st of 2024 to be eligible for the exemption. Another local option that allows the municipality to limit the total exemption to the median assessed value of residential real property in the municipality. Then it has the other local option to allow those veterans with service-connected total disability based on individual unemployability, which is TDIU, to receive the 100% off their dwelling. And then it also allowed for Gold Star spouses. So it was just a fix to some legislation that they passed that wasn't, even when the legislation was first passed, it wasn't clear enough. And assessors were like, well, what does this mean? What does this mean? Do we know if this person's included? Do we not? And there were a lot of questions. And so when they passed that legislative update, it answered a lot of those questions for us. It does happen to include the TDIU veterans, which by my calculation, and again, this is only who we know, not based on them having given us their eligibility letter from the VA for the disability. We only have 13 right now that would be eligible.
And this is, just to clarify, it's also this, if it's the will of council to create this additional option for exemption, it wouldn't take effect until the grand list of 2026. So in other words, the bills that will go out 13 months from now. So we have plenty of time to get this right if there are additional questions and.
Right, and they would have to follow the same process as the other permanent and total veterans. There's an application that they have to submit to us every year. Because what happens with the VA is that you can get a permanent and total rating, say you have cancer, you're 100% clear of that cancer, they can then remove the permanent and total from you. And so now we have to get an application every year and you have to provide us with your letter just showing that you're still considered permanent and total by the VA.
Councilor Draco?
Yeah, I guess what I was just wondering how you came up with the number of 13.
We went through every single letter that we had.
Okay, but there still could be more.
Absolutely, there could be more, yes. And that, like I said, those are the only, because the regular veterans benefits, when they bring us our letter from the VA, they only have to do that once, right? So say a veteran is 100% disabled, but hasn't been determined as TDIU, we wouldn't get that letter again from them. So we wouldn't know because that we just put them in the system, they're 100%, they get their max benefit. But by putting this out to them, we might start to get more letters in with people saying, hey, I have TDIU. Great, but that's just, those 13, we went through every single letter, found just the TDIUs.
So, you said that they only submit it once, so how do you know, you mentioned if somebody can come off of?
Yes.
that? How do you follow up on that?
It's hard to, it's a, some of it's an honor system from the veterans. But yes, you can have your disability rating change. I mean, of course, they always bring us the disability. I mean, of course, I served in the military too. It's we're all like, oh, look, a letter, and I got, but
Suffice it to say, it's those eligibility determinations are established by the State Department of Veterans Affairs.
it
correct?
is determined
So
by
it's,
the
there's already a
federal.
regulatory entity that is
Yes.
vetting people. We don't know the process for how they're vetting them and what they have to go through, but
It is not
it's not
easy,
something that we would be the adjudicators of.
but
But the purpose of the law initially, before they did the TDIU, was veterans who just can't work, so they can't, there's no income coming in. So this is just kind of like, not an oversight, but if they can't work, they can't work, whether it's 100% disabled or this other classification.
Mhm.
The intent is to assist those who really are unemployable. Okay, thank you.
Counselor Tenakis.
Are we limited to any one set of those options, or are we able to? do all of
no,
them?
there have been, we have a little survey going with the assessors, and towns are implementing various combinations or just the TDIU. So,
Is there a reason not to do all of them?
you
They all
know,
have costs.
they all have a
They all have
cost.
costs, and they're not
And I don't-
insignificant costs. So we're talking about $49,000 for this option 4. And all of them have, and I think Daniel ran the numbers in the last grand list of with the old mill rate of what cost will be. Do you have those handy?
Yeah, so for the TDIU, I have numbers for every single option actually, and I redid them with the new mill rate. So for TDIU, the total assessment for those 13 veterans would be $1,665,360, which would be about $48,978.24 in tax.
With the mill rate.
Yep, with the new mill rate. If you're looking at the 2 acres, to include the 2 acres, you're looking at about a $1,638,210 assessment, which would be a tax implication of about $48,180. The surviving spouses, and again, this is hard because we're going off of the information we have in the office right now. It'd be an assessment of $326,550, which would be $9,604 in tax implication. If we were to limit the total exemption to the median assessed value of residential real property, the median is 240, 380 assessment. So by capping it, you would reduce the total exempted assessment to these veterans from 6.5 million down to 5.7 million-ish, which would reduce the overall tax implication from 190 down to 166. I just throw a lot of numbers at you.
That's okay.
We can do it then in the next meeting if you want. Danielle can just do a spreadsheet with all of those,
And I can-
option
Yeah,
one is
we
this.
definitely keep talking about it. I know there's a cost, but also I think veterans don't get treated nearly as well as they
Right.
should. So I'd like to do as much as we can. So,
How
yeah, we
many
definitely gotta
people-
talk about it.
How many-
Deputy Mayor's up.
Oh, sorry.
Deputy Mayor Rada?
Yeah, just a question, with everything else that you have to do and have done, has there been consideration to how we're gonna get this out to the public? So that more people will be aware, once we decide on and determine the exemptions?
Obviously, I'm always open for that. I like reaching out to the public. I love going to the senior center and just sharing my knowledge with them. Certainly I could, yeah. I've made a video about, how we do motor vehicle assessments. I can certainly get that out and get that onto the social media. And find a way to make sure we get this information out to everyone.
It's on local veteran groups.
Yeah, like the
networking is great.
get it out to the VA that we did this, so they can make sure that, hey, Newington's included in this. And then obviously the American Legion, the VA, all of that,
No,
the
that's-
VFW.
Yeah, that's great. No, I'm just thinking, we have 13 that
I know.
that are identified, but I would hesitate to say that there are probably more that are just not aware, and new folks moving into the community as well.
Of course.
Yeah, to make that available and provide that information. Thank you.
Councilman Gonzalez?
I was just wondering, how many people in town have 2 acres? I mean,
Not many.
Not
I want to
many.
give, I'm supportive of all of this for the
Not many.
veterans. I was just wondering if we can't do everything, maybe that's one that we could not do because people may not really have that. That may not be relevant for.
But it's up to 2 acres. So it would
Oh,
be,
got you.
so it's capped at 2 acres. So obviously anything over 2
misunderstood,
acres
gotcha.
wouldn't be exempt, but that would be including their land in their total assessment, as opposed to just doing the dwelling, which I can speak
I got you.
from having been at the window, trying to say, oh, no, it's just it's just the dwelling, not your shed or the land. I mean, that's,
Got it. I
people are like,
misunderstood
huh?
that.
Yeah. It's the way the law was written.
Well, I think there's broad support here to look at doing more for the veterans that live in our community, and I really appreciate you coming here explaining that. I know that we're gonna keep talking.
Yeah,
over
so for the
year
next
to
time,
get
we'll just,
something done.
we'll have a fiscal analysis of all of the options.
Yeah, I can do,
Yeah.
put something together for
Yeah.
them and,
Yeah.
so, okay.
Very good.
Very
Thanks,
good.
Danielle, appreciate you.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to item C, 2026-2027 administrative pay plan. This is pretty
Yeah,
standard
this is,
every year.
I think it's in section 902 of the charter, requires council to, or manager to present council every year an updated administrative pay plan. So it just moves the ranges by 3%, pretty consistent with the adopted budget amounts. So if you're in agreement with it, we can approve it at the next council meeting.
Any questions on this, or folks want to digest it? All right, we'll take a look and should be good to go for the next meeting. Appreciate it. All right, moving on to item D, which is approval of the settlement with Melanie DePamphilis. And we are, a waiver to suspend the rules has been requested. Deputy Mayor Rada, would you please read the first part of the resolution?
Certainly. Resolved that the Newington Town Council, in accordance with section 14, voting of the Town Council Rules of Procedure, adopted April 4th, 2024, hereby moves to allow action on agenda item 11D to consider and take action on a settlement agreement with Melanie DePamphilis.
Second. Motion by Deputy Mayor Rada, second by Councilor Siniakis. Because we are discussing waiving the rules, right at this point in time, we will open the floor for public participation related to this agenda item only. If anybody has any comments about waiving the rules, please step up to the microphone and state your name and address for the record, or use the raise hand function in Zoom. All right, seeing none, we had a motion and a second. Any further discussion on waiving the rules? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? All right, motion carries 8-0. Counselor Ford absent. And can you please read the other half? Deputy Mayor?
Resolved that the Newington Town Council hereby moves to accept the proposed settlement agreement with Melanie DePamphilis and authorizes the town manager on behalf of the town of Newington to execute any and all documents necessary to complete the settlement.
Second. Motion by Deputy Mayor Rada, seconded by Councilor Siniakis. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? Right, motion carries 8-0. Councilor Ford absent. I'll conclude new business for the night. Next up is a town manager report. Anything to
Thank you,
update
Mr.
us
Mayor.
today?
Yeah, a number of things to keep you, update you about. In addition, obviously, the Pride Flag event on June 1st. A number of other events coming up on the Park and Rec side. Newington Goes Country on Thursday, June 11th at Mill Pond Park. And then, not to be outdone, one day later, on Friday, June 12th, will be the Food Truck Friday. So those are fun events. Hope to see you there. And then on the America 250 note, on June 4th, which is, I believe, next Thursday, I want to say, at 6:30, the 102nd National Guard Army Band will be playing patriotic songs at Mill Pond Park.
Yes.
That could be fun. And then congratulations to Newington resident Crystal Plakanov, I think is how you say it, who was the winner of the design contest for the Newington 250 logo, which is really cool.
It's a beautiful design.
It's really
Amazing
cool.
work. Great choice.
The upcoming presentations that we got, just to make you aware of, Andy Maximilian from Blue Wing, the radio radio tower consultant, will be hopefully here at some point in June to talk about some of the work we're doing, identifying potential sites for the construction of a radio tower. Joe Salamone will be coming as well, but I think this was came from a comment from Councilor DeHaas a couple months ago for a space analysis of all town facilities, which Joe's been diligently plugging away out over the last couple of months, and that will give us an opportunity to tee up some important discussion about the path forward. And then at the next meeting, we have the Volunteer of the Year presentation for Bill de Blasio, the Park and Rec board member. On Monday, Lauren, myself, town engineer Chris Abidio will be going to MDC. They are proposing a new stormwater fee on developers. Interested to hear about this. There's been some discussion on the MDC side about maybe interest in creating a regional stormwater authority, which would be kind of novel. This would seem to be kind of a first step in that direction. And so trying to understand more about it, and hopefully I'll be able to report something back to council in the next couple of weeks. I'm pleased to announce that, well, about 2 months ago, as you remember, we had a retirement ceremony for Master Police Officer Eric Petlick. I'm pleased to announce that his Officer Petlick's time as a retired police officer was very, very short because he will be rejoining the town as our new ACO on June 1st. So that's exciting.
Wow. That's awesome.
On another event of note coming up not a week from today, on Monday, June 8th at 6 p.m. So 2 Mondays, basically 2 weeks from now, right here at 6 o'clock, the Mid-States Police Chiefs will be hosting a public forum on hate crimes in the state. So that's, and Chief Perry is going to sort of take center stage, I think, in that. So I think that's going to be a really interesting discussion with the community of not only Newington, but also some of our partners in the area. And then last but not least, Danielle just left, but I did want to report that we have 55 tax appeals have been submitted. That's somewhat higher than 5 years ago, all from commercial property owners appealing their assessments. So those will go to Superior Court probably in the fall. According to Danielle, obviously it's 15 or so more than 5 years ago. She described it as, quote, a lot, but manageable. So I'll keep you in the loop as we go, forward in that process, but hopefully our assessments hold up. So that's all I've got.
Thank you, Jonathan. Any questions from Councilor Jonathan? Appreciate your efforts, sir. Moving on to item 13, council liaison and committee reports. Any updates from councilors on what you guys have been up to? Councilor Bedrejko.
Just want to give a quick update on the Stillman Spivic plans for Keeney parcel was presented to TPZ last week as a pre-application where they just described the 244 unit mixed retail project. And it was very interesting. There was no opportunity for public participation, again, because it was an agenda item. But what I found surprising was that most of the units would be 2 to 3 bedrooms. So they kind of touted it as a family oriented rather than, for, singles or whatever. So again, 2 to 3 bedrooms, family oriented, and they were very cognizant of the POCD and kept referring during the presentation as incorporating green space and walkability. The purpose was to kind of, again, just throw it out in front of the commissioners to kind of get an overall first reaction. And most of the comments, I believe, were favorable, although there was objection to a plan for making some of the buildings 4 stories high. But with that was, I guess there's some grading considerations on that site. So the developers had said that really the 4 stories would not be that visible and would appear more as 3 stories versus 4 stories. But that did seem to be one of the major areas of comment by TPC commissioners. There were a few traffic questions, but not as many as I would have expected, nor as many as I, quite frankly, talking to people and seeing on Facebook. I think the public does have an awful lot of concerns on traffic, although that's not necessarily within the purview of TPZ to have discussed it at that point. Also, one of the things is they need to have more input from the fire department, particularly in concerned as, there will be multiple stories, and also the plans for the underground garage for getting fire apparatus into the underground garages. But the overall reaction from the TPZ, I believe, was primarily favorable, and most likely the developers now need to go back and kind of incorporate what they've heard, and then they probably will be coming back at some point in the future for an application.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Finiakis.
Parks and Rec is gearing up for next month. They have a lot of events going on. So in 2 weeks, Newington Goes Country, Food Truck Friday is going to be happening, and subsequently the extravaganza after. So this year I cleared my schedule. I'm going to be volunteering a few days. So if you guys drink alcohol, I will serve it to you. The Commission on Aging and Disabled People is gearing up for what I believe is a bingo fundraiser soon. And if you correct me if I'm wrong on that. October 2nd. So they're planning it now at the Portuguese Club. So be on the lookout for that. They still have some planning to do, but I went last time. It's a great time. I never won at bingo, so maybe this is my year here. And then hopefully at the end of next month, the Commission Rules Committee is going to be meeting. We got a little sidetracked with the budget that popped up, so we're trying to get back on track, and we should have one final meeting so we could ratify any kind of new rules, and then we should be good for the year.
The budget just popped up out of nowhere.
I didn't see it coming. Yeah, it was crazy.
Thank you, Counselor. All right. Any other updates from council? All right, seeing none, we're going to move back to public participation. If you'd like to speak in public participation, please step up to the microphone and state your name and address for the record. If you're on Zoom, use the raise hand function. I'll alternate between in the room and over Zoom. Come on up.
All right, my name is Allison Pfeffer and my address is 64 Garfield Street. This is obviously an important issue to me, so I'm grateful again for the opportunity to provide additional comment. I'd like to address first Council Member DeHaas's comment about the pride flag being the catalyst for uncomfortable conversations about sexual orientation with kids. To start, I'm not an expert, but I do work with kids, and I think we can agree that the curiosity kids display is a joy to behold. Next, I wholeheartedly agree that parents get to decide when and what topics are discussed with their kids. But I'm left wondering, do you avoid being around pregnant people so your kids won't ask how are babies made? That's to be snarky on purpose. But if your argument is in good faith, my hope is that if the kids in your life ask questions about the pride flag and you continue to feel uncomfortable talking about it, that you lean on the experts around you. So my first suggestion would be to head to the library and have the librarian suggest an age-appropriate book, which they can do on this and on most any topic. Next, it was very difficult to hear other comments with regard to other citizens feeling left out because the pride flag doesn't represent them. It was really incredible to hear another citizen ask for their recognition for being a heterosexual white male who pays taxes. So I just like to take a moment now to remind my fellow citizens of Newington that if you are part of the dominant group or the group that has traditionally held power and restricted others from gaining power, whether passively or actively, you are not a marginalized group. So to be more specific, white men, the police force, and other groups that were brought up earlier asking for recognition, they're not marginalized nor at any risk of being marginalized. And putting up the LGBTQ flag, the pride flag in June, is such a great way of showing our LGBTQ plus friends and families that we see them, we love them, and we will keep them safe here. So just to wrap up, thank you again for your support of this, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all on June 1st. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, we got one on Zoom. Go right ahead, Miss Lyons.
Hi, Rose Lyons, 46 Elton Drive. As much as I don't care for Facebook and what goes on there sometimes, because it seems to be that it's a lot of negativity, but I do have things brought to my attention that I probably would have missed before. There was a mention of a $2 million grant, I believe, from the state or whatever, from the bonding commission. I don't know if it went through or not, for helping with the plans for the town center. I'm hoping that that's going to be discussed at the table, at the town council table, because I have had too many experiences with monies coming in from the state that cost us more in our tax dollars. The municipal parking lot stands out in my head as Governor Jody Rell announced the $1 million grant for the municipal parking lot, and it cost us $800,000 on top of that. So I'd like to know, and I don't want an answer now, I'd like to see it though, discussed whether or not the town has to put in any monies towards that. And there's been questions asked as to exactly what are those monies going to be used for. There's got to be something in the application that would give an indication, I would believe, as to what we were awarded and why we were awarded it. Another observation from Facebook is that there was an announcement from the police department to be aware that the highway department would be on Cedar Mountain putting in a temporary road and to watch out for the traffic going in and out. And someone commented about it being on the open space that property, the Marcap property, as we always we refer to it. It's never been named anything else. There's acres of grounds up there that the town fought through Save Cedar Mountain to preserve, and I just was curious as to what the plans were for that area. The town manager reminded me when he said he was going to the MDC that that's one of my to-dos, to call them and ask them. And if you're there, Jonathan, and you have a minute, could you ask them when the Clean Water Act charge is going to come off of our water bill? I love my water. I don't complain about what I pay for it. But 10 or 15 years ago, the MDC borrowed money. And at the time, they said that at some point in time, Clean Water Act charge was going to be more than the charge we have for our water. And I said, oh, I won't be around for that. Well, I think it's up to $4.89 or something now, but I'm going to give them a call. And the ACO, I'm glad to hear that we have someone that is going to be taking over that knows the town, familiar with the area. And I know that during the budget season, you had put the Connecticut canine purchase on hold. I'm just wondering if there'll be some sort of conversation as to what the town is doing. I know they're leasing space or something from Bloomfield, but going forward, now that we have an ACO, I'm just wondering if there's anything in the plans to look at other locations or other options. And last but not least, I'm going to once again cast my non-vote for the money to go back into the general fund. I was kind of disappointed to hear Mayor Trister even suggest that we take it off our taxes. I mean, other people may feel it more than I, but if I'm paying $7,500 on an income of $40,000 a year, I think the $25 isn't going to make a difference to me. But that's my own personal opinion. Thank you and good night.
Thank
you, Ms. Gibbs. Anybody else in the room or over Zoom that would like to speak in public records? Come on up. Come right up.
Good evening, Edward Neuvel, Surrey Drive, Newington. Thank you, AJ, for bringing up the information about the bingo. I appreciate that. Information will be coming out shortly. I'm speaking from the hip. I had nothing prepared. I wasn't going to say anything. I'm 71 years old, a gay male. In the 70s, I was assaulted in New York City. We've come through a very long struggle throughout the years. And with the current administration, everything that was struggling, trying to give people just general human rights has been stripped away. What I'm hearing tonight is you can sugarcoat it as much as you want. What I'm hearing is hate. And we have no room for hate. And the flag, my question is, would the other side, if you wanted to, let's say, have a flag of the current president on there or Confederate flag, would they be thinking anything different? Instead of gearing yourself to hate groups of people, concentrate on what really matters with the town. And I feel it's no big deal to have 1 month. You could have other kind of flags. I mean, you brought up a process and having other flags. But what I'm really hearing is hate. And I live in fear now with the current administration grooming people to hate me. And that's what I'm hearing is hate. And I don't hate any of you here, and I hope no one hates me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on up.
Dwight Henderson, 64 Garfield Street. I just wanted to, I also not prepare anything, but I wanted to voice my support for flying the pride flag during the month of June. I think to reiterate what the last speaker just said, as you know, a person came up here earlier and spoke who identified as trans, and they left a while ago. And as they left, a comment was made to them. I didn't hear it, but I saw the reaction, and the reaction was poor. And I'm certain that comment was derogatory. And that's why we have to fly this flag, because that stuff's still happening. And Councilman DeHaas, you're right. Flying that flag does not force you to act like a good person. It doesn't force you not to say those things, but it does allow us to say as a community that we want to protect and represent people who are being attacked and who are actively being attacked throughout the entire country currently. Just, you know, other speakers spoke about government should be neutral, it should be in the middle, but that's just not what government is. Government is the voice of the people who elected them. It has never or will ever be neutral. That's not how we move in any one direction, even if you want to take it. So that's how we end up with the administration we have now, because nothing is neutral. It's always moving. And that's an unreasonable expectation of the current administration or government for anything to be perfectly neutral. And I think that we're doing the right thing as a town, flying and supporting our LGBTQIA plus community. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Come on up. You guys got rock, paper, scissors.
I wasn't gonna keep, oh, my name's Lou and I'm still on Hartford Avenue. How's that? I wasn't gonna say anything until this guy just said it. That remark that was made was by me and it wasn't directed at that person. Our town manager over here dropped his rubber duck and I was letting him know his little rubber ducky fell on the floor. That person that walked out the door thought I was talking to them. Not even close. I just felt as though that was pointed at me because the reaction was at me. I was letting the guy know he dropped his duck. But to expand a little bit more on this, I think there's like an unlimited amount of groups in this country right now that feel slighted. And we can't keep track of everybody. I can talk about how I think that police are hated in this country right now. It started with the defund the police movement. Recruitment has never recovered because of that. Police are under fire every time they make the news for a shooting. Somebody was talking about Facebook, in the general media, as soon as something has happened, the hate pours out of people, that everything's intentional. Where's the training? Where's this? Where's that? We live in a very touchy society these days. We're not back in our old days where we were brought up with a little bit of backbone. And I think that's really what's tearing us apart. I guess I'm just, you know, I lived on the other side of the tracks as far as a law-abiding citizen for years. And one thing we never did was all out hate the cops. We appreciate it because they give us breaks. You know, I got plenty of breaks. And that life is over with, but now I respect cops because I have to. My son's one. I got to do that. But I think there's a lot of hate for a lot of groups in this country. And I don't think one should be above the other. You know, so, the oppressed people Black pride, that's a big one right there. I mean, that's a big group. And I don't know if we fly their flag or anybody applied for that flag. But I'm just saying there's a lot of hate out there for a lot of groups and there's a lot of misunderstanding. And there are a lot of people who assume it's hate. You know, I don't hate anybody personally. Well, there's a few people I hate personally, but not as in groups. And because I'm human, I hated my body. And but not to a group. To each their own is the way I was brought up, you know. And I just think the assumption that people have hate in their words is the worst assumption you can make, because then you paint a person a certain way. And I don't think that's right neither. I really don't. Because one thing I hear some groups use, that they're being labeled, and they hate that. Well, aren't you labeling a person that you're assuming that their words are hateful? Not just the way they feel, their prerogative, the way they were brought up in life. I just think there's two sides to every street, to every issue. So I think we better be careful before we start labeling anybody as a hateful person. I really do. And that's it. Bye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Andre Andreas, 76 Vincent Drive. So I heard a few things tonight and, you know, I made a comment about the Pride Committee being formed through the town of Newington, and it did get formed through the town of Newington Council. There was an agenda about it. I have the agenda notes. It was illegally formed and then possibly disbanded, but it was formed through the town council. So please. On top of that, you know, we're talking about forced acceptance. You don't have to accept anyone. And that's the reality. Not everyone's going to accept me. That woman does not accept me for being a white tax-paying male. But she's not going to stop me from living my life. And maybe we should start telling people that not everyone's going to accept you. Live your life. Don't force acceptance. This pride flag thing is forced acceptance. I'm not stopping them from living their life, but we don't need a flag to celebrate it. You know, there was a presidential order from President Donald Trump to lower the US flag to half-staff following the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was assassinated by a LGBTQ sympathizer. That night, the US flag outside our town hall was still at full mast. And I believe that was done deliberately. So if you can raise the flag, you can certainly lower it and follow the commander-in-chief's orders. So if you want to talk about being fair, you need to be fair to everybody. That's why we can refer back to that United States flag, which represents everyone, regardless of sexual orientation, race, whatever. I'm not asking for a Blue Lives Matter flag. I'm not asking for that. The donor flag is it is not a political affiliation like the pride flag can be considered. That flag represents us all. People died for that. People died for the United States flag so people can come up here and talk and express their opinions. This town council is going to do what they want to do. But I don't know, it just seemed like you guys are not, you've already made up your minds. People are voicing their opinions. And it's just, well, I'm going to do what I want to do. Your reactions are very telling.
Thank you. Anybody else in the room or over Zoom that would like to speak in public participation? All right, seeing none, we will move on to remarks by councilors. And I see Councilor Nieves, you're ready to go. Go right ahead, Councilor Nieves.
Yeah, I just want to comment on the commentaries that have been made, and people have a right to believe, to think, to live their lives, to raise their children as they see fit. But I am a parent of a gay son. And I did hear Counselor DeHaas comments about seeing and witnessing or being around individuals, maybe encouraging, or that their child, they kind of push that kind of agenda or that kind of behavior. From a personal perspective, being the parent of a gay son, it was very, very, very painful. He's 42 years old today. And it wasn't until he became an adult that he disclosed the pain and the indignity that he oftentimes suffered growing up, having been mocked, feeling excluded, feeling like very depressed, oftentimes feeling isolated. And I think the biggest thing as a parent, feeling like he never belonged. And those kinds of comments, that experience, having raised a child that I didn't know was gay until he was an adult, it didn't make me feel any less love for him than what I feel today. And I strongly believe in inclusion. I believe in embracing individuals for who they are and what they are. I will not judge a person for how they live their life. And all I ask for of people that I know and family members and people I come across is just to hear people out and just look deep in your hearts. I think to accept people for what they are. Everyone has a right to live their lives as they see fit. And every parent, every family member does have a right to raise their child. I won't take that away from an individual, because I did that as my children were growing up. But I wanted to express the fact that I just believe in inclusion. I am Latin, I am a minority, and I am a woman, and have encountered exclusion in many facets in my life as I've gone through this life that I live. That's what I have to say.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor DeHaas.
So please don't twist my words to sound hateful for not wanting to force exposure to sexuality for young children, because it's not hateful. Opposition to raising a flag is not hate. Having a voice for families who do not wish to discuss sexuality with young children is not hate. Everybody here who has spoken has acknowledged that a parent has a right to raise their child how they see fit. Not every parent wants to force exposure. That's not hate. That's being a parent, that's raising your child within the faith, the morals, the values that you hold within your family. Raising kind humans without forcing exposure is possible. Again, it's how you raise your human. You can raise your child to be respectful, to treat people with dignity, and not force exposure. So my having a voice for those families and those parents is not hate. If I ever treat somebody personally with disrespect or dignity, then please call me on. If I have not treated you disrespectfully or without dignity, then don't call me hateful because I oppose forced exposure to young children. I don't want to speak about sexuality with young children. I have no desire to speak about sexuality with young children. Pregnancy is rooted in biology and science, and I can explain that easily, but I cannot easily explain a sexuality or an identity to a young child who does not yet understand those concepts. But it's not hate. Thank you.
Counselor Pacheco.
Well, on another note, I wanted to give a shout out, I'm sorry, to the Memorial Day Parade Committee.
They did a great job.
They did
It
a
was
fine
amazing. Great
job, particularly with the weather, holding out, and the ceremony afterwards. That's when the rain did come, but we were covered. It was moving, it was impactful, and I want to thank everybody who worked on it. But sort of segueing back into this issue, just about the flags in general. Earlier, the mayor had mentioned something in the very beginning about we don't have a flag policy. We talked about this for years but nobody ever really took it and ran with it. But I think, quite frankly, it's time.
I agree.
Because I can see from the direction that some of the conversations are heading, there is a possibility where people can approach us at some point, and we're just, what, nine, I don't know how many, are we, I don't know, 9 individuals, where we may be asked to make decisions on things that are either morally, ethically, or politically, take a stand, loaded. Because at this point, because we have no policy, anybody can come to us with a flag, and it's gonna be up to us. And I would prefer, I think it's, if we can get that flag committee going, a town needs a flag policy to prevent legal liabilities and community disputes. Government speech, what are the flag laws medium for government speech or politics, one or the other. It will prevent legal liabilities, and it will define what flags are authorized. And maybe there's ways to where in a municipal building, there are certain flags that, that speak for all of us, but maybe there's another way to display symbols or of movements that are important to other people. Maybe it doesn't have to be in front of the town hall. Maybe there could be other ways, but we need a committee to address this, because my fear is that this is not bringing us together necessarily. It might be moving us apart, and we need a way to ensure that we stay as a group, but yet we don't prohibit free speech or the expression of movement. So if we can please get that committee going at some point. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Tiniakis.
Thank you. Just again, thank you everyone for coming. I know everyone's got different opinions on things. They don't see eye to eye, and that's completely fine. I'm not in the business of trying to change anyone's mind by any means. Everyone can feel the way that they want to feel. It's their life. But I appreciate you guys coming out. It's always fun to see people engage with what we're doing here. And then just to add a personal caveat, I don't really think it's I don't think it's sexual in nature, to be honest. I think it's just people loving each other. I was out with a niece like a year and a half ago. She saw 2 guys kissing. She said, "Oh, these guys are kissing." I'm like, "Yeah, they probably love each other." And then we ordered pizza. So, I mean, it's just, it's as big a deal as you make it, So, those are my thoughts.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Capella.
Okay. I just want to say that I understand everyone's very emotional, and I'm a little upset right now because I don't feel that I'm being hateful by any means. If anyone who knows me knows that I'm a very caring person, and I treat everybody with respect. And I've raised my kids to also be that way. And I know we're in a different time right now, and things are changing, but I just don't feel that just because you feel a different way, it's hate. Everyone, like Counselor Tiniakis said, everyone's entitled to their own opinions. And just because you have a different opinion than someone else, it doesn't make you wrong. It doesn't make you're hateful. I think it's just become so political that both sides are pointing fingers, and I think everyone should just acknowledge that we're not all going to understand everyone's views, but we have to respect each other. And just as I respect someone's views that the pride flag makes them feel better, I don't think it makes me feel better because I treat everyone the same. I'm inclusive to everybody. I have gay friends, I have transgender friends. I treat everyone the same. My door is open, and you can sit at my table no matter what. And just as an FYI, this administration is the first administration that has had an openly gay man at such a high position. His name is Richard Grinnell. And besides him, there has been plenty more. Bill White, James Townsend, Ken Milham, and he's even hosted a gay marriage at Mar-a-Lago. So I'm going to leave it at that. And I think we all need to just love each other and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor.
And respect each other for their opinions.
Agreed. Just a couple final thoughts from me. First and foremost, sexuality and gender identity are based in science too, Counselor Haas. Those things are in science as well. The way in our community, we have gay people that live here. They buy homes, they send their kids to schools here, and we're thrilled to have them here too. And we want to make sure it's welcoming for everybody. As long as I'm in the seat, we're going to do everything we can to make it welcoming for everybody. And that's all I got on that. So we're gonna move on to informational items. Any other info items? Yeah, I got one. We were talking earlier. If anybody's gonna be busy on Saturday afternoon at 3:30, the Newington Boys U15 travel soccer team is hosting a state cup semifinal here in town. Come out and support the team as we try to take home the cup for the town. That's it. Any other info items from council?
The BAPS walk.
Oh, and this Sunday is the BAPS walkathon in Rocky Hill. Yep. Folks can get there and leave. It's 2:00. All right. If nothing else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Kind of.
Motion by Counselor Tiagas, second by Counselor Gonzalez. Any further discussion on adjournment? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed or abstain? All right, motion carries 8-0. Counselor Court absent. We're adjourned, 8:54 PM.
You're at 8:52, you win.